Have you ever wondered how a car salesperson calculates their exact commission without just guessing? Or think about this. How do scientists predict the freezing temperatures of the ocean at massive depths before ever sending a submarine down? Well, the universe isn't random, right? It actually changes in highly predictable ways.
So how do we actually model these relationships mathematically? By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand direct, inverse, and joint variations. We'll look at the core formulas behind them and exactly how you can apply them to solve real-world problems.
Let's jump right into our first concept, direct variation, or what I like to call growing together.
Think of this as two things moving in the exact same direction. When one variable goes up, the other goes up. Let's look at a quick example of a used car salesperson named Nicole. Now, what's really interesting here is the precise relationship in the numbers. Let's say Nicole earns a 16% commission. If she sells a vehicle for $4,600, her earnings are exactly $736. Now, if we double her sales to $9,200, look what happens. Her earnings perfectly double, right up to $1,472. These variables are locked together in a direct proportional step.
And the reason this works so perfectly is all thanks to something called the constant of variation. We represent this with a letter K. This is a non-zero constant that defines the predictable relationship between our variables. In Nicole's case, that constant K is simply 0.16, which is her 16% commission rate. It's basically the anchor that holds all the math together.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how we write this out universally. This brings us to the direct variation formula, which is y equals k times x to the nth power. In plain English, y varies directly with the nth power of x. Here, k is our constant multiple. It's just simple multiplication keeping those two variables perfectly in step with each other.
Let's make this easier with a structured step-by-step example. Suppose you're told y varies directly with the cube of x. How do we actually solve for the unknown numbers? Step 1. Identify your input and output variables. Step 2. Find your constant k. If you're given x and y, you simply divide y by x cubed to isolate k. Step 3. You rewrite your clean equation with that specific k plugged in. And finally, step 4. Substitute your new values to solve. Finding k first is literally your secret weapon for all of these problems.
Wait, hold on a second. This is an important moment, because here is a really common question I get from students when we look at direct variation equations. Do the graphs of all direct variation equations look exactly the same? I mean, they are all direct variations, right?
The answer is no. Direct variation equations are power functions. So depending on that exponent, n, they might be linear, like a straight line, quadratic, like a parabola, or even cubic. But here is the golden rule you absolutely must remember. They all pass through the origin, 0, 0. Think about it. If Nicole sells 0 cars, she makes $0. That is the visual hallmark of direct variation. All right, let's move on to our next concept, inverse variation, opposites attract.
What happens when variables move in opposite directions? Let's leave the car lot and dive deep into the ocean. The formula we're looking at here is temperature equals 14,000 divided by the depth. Look what happens to the numbers. At a depth of 500 feet, the water is a chilly 28 degrees Fahrenheit. But if we double that depth to 1,000 feet, the temperature drops by half, down to 14 degrees. As the depth goes up, the temperature predictably and mathematically comes down.
Let's compare these two side by side so you can really see the difference. On the left, we have direct variation, y equals k times x to the power of n. You are multiplying. But on the right, inverse variation, y equals k divided by x to the power of n. The fundamental difference here is division. The constant k is being divided by our input variable instead of multiplied by it.
Let's connect this to real life with a really quick analogy. Say you're going on a road trip, and the total distance is fixed at exactly 100 miles. Your drive time is going to be 100 divided by your velocity or your speed. If you drive faster, meaning your velocity increases, your drive time decreases. Time varies inversely with your speed. Makes total sense, right? So how do we solve an inverse variation problem? The steps are actually incredibly similar. Let's say y varies inversely with the cube of x. Step 1, find the constant k. But this time, because the original formula uses division, you isolate k by multiplying y by x cubed. Step 2, write out your main equation, y equals k divided by x cubed. Step 3, plug in your knowns and solve. Once again, you find k, you conquer the problem.
Okay, quick mental check. We've looked at one variable depending directly or inversely on another single variable. But you might be wondering, Wait, what if a variable depends on more than one thing? Because let's face it, the real world is rarely that simple.
That brings us to our third concept, joint variation, combining forces.
This is exactly how we model complex real-world scenarios that have multiple moving parts. Joint variation occurs when a variable depends on the product or quotient of multiple other variables. Think about planning a school field trip. The total cost of busing students doesn't just depend on the number of kids going. It also depends on the distance traveled. So, the cost varies jointly with the student count and the distance. 2 input variables, 1 final outcome.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how wild these formulas can get. Check out this equation. X equals k times y squared divided by the cube root of z. Notice what's happening here. X is varying directly with the square of y because it's in the numerator being multiplied, but x is simultaneously varying inversely with the cube root of z because it's sitting there in the denominator. Yet despite all that, there is still only one single constant k holding all of this chaos together.
If we were to walk through that exact example and plug in our initial given variables to find k, which works out to be 3, and then substitute our new target values, we'd find the final simplified answer for x is exactly 1. The big takeaway here? It absolutely does not matter how terrifying or complex the formula looks. If you identify whether the relationships are direct or inverse, and you just find k first, it becomes easily solvable, every single time.
Which brings us to our final section, summary and application.
Before we finish up, let's quickly summarize the key points we've covered today, and then I want to show you a massive real-world application that governs literally everything around us. So, here is your final mental checklist. We have 3 main variation types. First, direct variation. This is where variables are growing together and you're multiplying by k. Second, inverse variation. These are opposites, where one increases while the other decreases, and you're dividing k by x. And third, joint variation. These are combinations of direct and inverse variables, all governed by one single master constant k. Now you might be asking, why does all this math actually matter? Let's scale this way up from car sales and ocean depths. How do we calculate the exact time it takes a massive planet to orbit the sun? I mean, we don't exactly use a giant stopwatch. We use the exact variation concepts we just learned today. Just look at this quote detailing Kepler's law. It states, "The square of the time required for a planet to orbit the sun varies directly with the cube of the mean distance that the planet is from the sun." Just like that, the mechanics of our entire solar system are governed by a direct variation formula. T squared equals k times a cubed. I really want you to think about that epic scale for a second. Mastering these equations means you're literally mastering the language of the universe itself. I hope you're eager to apply this math to even more astronomical concepts in our next explainer.